All right, so you wanted the details on how Fiem Industries is performing, especially with all this talk about electric vehicles and how that whole market is changing.
Right.
So we went ahead and we dug into their latest financials for you.
Mm-hmm.
These are the second quarter results for this fiscal year, FY 2025,
Oh, okay.
which they just released on November 13th.
Got it.
And we got a few sources here.
Yes.
We got the press release.
Uh-huh.
We got the detailed financials. And we even got some notes from their investor call.
Nice.
Before we get into the numbers, I think it's worth just stepping back for a sec and reminding ourselves,
Yeah.
what Fiem Industries even is.
Yeah, good point.
What do they actually do?
Yeah, so to put it simply, they're a leading manufacturer of all those essential parts that you see on vehicles.
Okay.
Like headlights, taillights, rear view mirrors.
I see.
They even produce those plastic molded parts and sheet metal components that go into making a vehicle.
Right. They're not exactly a household name, are they?
No, not really, but
But when you look at their client list, it's pretty impressive.
it is. It is.
You're talking like big players like Honda, TVS, Yamaha, Suzuki,
Mm-hmm.
even Harley-Davidson.
Exactly.
So I think, looking at their performance can give us some real insight into how the Indian automotive market as a whole is doing,
Oh, for sure.
especially, that booming electric vehicle segment.
Yeah, absolutely. And, speaking of things that might have impacted performance,
Oh, yeah.
remember that fire they had back in June of 2023?
Oh, right, at one of their factories.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that had any lasting effects.
Yeah, me too.
Well, why don't we just jump right in then?
Okay.
Let's start with the headline figures.
Okay.
Fiem Industries reported a pretty significant jump in revenue this quarter,
Oh, wow.
both compared to last year and even the last few months.
Interesting. So is that a sign that they've really managed to corner the market on vehicle lighting in India?
It's possible.
I mean, they do have that impressive client list.
Yeah. Well, their automotive segment is definitely still their bread and butter,
Yeah.
contributing to nearly all of their total revenue this quarter.
Wow.
And within that, automotive lighting was the real star performer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we talk about profits,
Yeah.
did they see a similar increase?
Their profit after tax, or PA for short,
Okay.
also increased compared to the same time last year,
Okay.
though the increase from last quarter was a bit more modest.
Okay, so things are looking pretty good overall, it sounds like.
Yeah, so far so good.
But I'm curious, are there any downsides that we should be considering?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that a huge chunk of their revenue comes from domestic original equipment manufacturers.
Right, the OEMs.
Exactly, OEMs for short.
Yeah.
These are the companies that actually assemble the vehicles.
Okay.
So Fiem is pretty heavily reliant on the continued success of those OEMs.
Okay, so if there's a slowdown in vehicle production, that would definitely impact them.
Precisely. And while they have ventured into the LED luminaires market for things like indoor and outdoor lighting, that's still a relatively small part of their business.
Okay, so they are a bit vulnerable if the two-wheeler market takes a hit.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
What about that fire
Yeah,
at their Unit 7 in Sonapat?
right.
Did they reveal how much that cost them?
They actually wrote off a significant amount of inventory and property in the first quarter of the last fiscal year because of that fire.
Wow, that's a big hit.
It is.
But I do recall reading that they received a pretty substantial insurance payout.
Huh?
Did they mention that in these reports?
They did. They received a large interim insurance payment this quarter.
Okay.
But it does make you wonder if the fire has had a lasting impact on their production capacity
Yeah.
or even their relationships with those big clients.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But let's shift gears and talk about something a bit more exciting.
Okay.
Electric vehicles.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in how Fiem is positioning themselves in this rapidly growing market.
Well, they're definitely making a lot of noise about being a first mover in the Indian EV market.
Okay.
And they've partnered with some major players in that space, offering everything from LED lighting solutions that are specifically tailored for EVs to specialized rearview mirrors.
Oh, okay. It seems like a really smart move, especially with the EV market projected to grow so rapidly in the coming years.
It does.
But are they actually putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to EV development? I mean, are we seeing substantial investments in this area?
Absolutely. They've more than tripled their capital expenditure in the first half of this fiscal year
Wow.
compared to the same period last year.
Really?
That's a pretty clear signal they're serious about growth.
Yeah.
And I'd say a good chunk of that is likely going towards EVs.
Yeah, that's a bold move.
It is.
But, big investments can sometimes mean taking on more debt.
True.
How's their financial health looking overall?
Well, they seem to be managing their finances pretty well.
Okay.
They're not drowning in debt, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
And that gives them more flexibility to invest in these new ventures.
That's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
So they're performing well financially.
Mm-hmm.
They're investing heavily in the future of the industry.
Right.
And their debt is manageable.
Seems like it.
What's the management's take on all this?
Yeah.
Did they share any insights in their earnings call or press release?
They actually painted a very optimistic picture of both Fiem's future and the automotive lighting industry as a whole.
Okay.
They emphasized their commitment to staying ahead of the curve, especially when it comes to EVs.
I see.
They also highlighted the importance of their strategic partnerships and their focus on research and development.
It sounds like they're pretty confident about their direction.
They do.
What's been the reaction from shareholders and analysts?
Yeah.
Are they buying into Fiem's vision?
From what I've seen, shareholders seem pleased with the latest results. Their stock price has responded positively, and there's a general buzz of optimism around their EV strategy.
Makes sense.
And most analyst forecasts seem to align with the management's positive outlook.
Okay, it really does sound like Fiem is on the right track.
Yeah.
But as you said earlier, they are heavily reliant on the success of the Indian automotive market.
Right.
What are some of the bigger industry trends that could impact their future beyond just the shift to EVs?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The Indian automotive industry is undergoing a massive transformation right now.
Okay.
Electrification is a major factor, of course.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing a push towards automation and connected vehicles.
Right.
And of course, consumer preferences are constantly evolving.
Yeah, they are.
So there's a lot to consider.
It seems like Fiem is in a good position to capitalize on these trends, especially with their investments in R&D.
Yeah, I agree.
But are there any potential challenges or roadblocks they might encounter along the way?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is the global supply chain.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen a lot of disruptions in recent years.
Definitely.
And that's something they'll need to navigate carefully.
Right.
And rising input costs are always a concern.
Yeah.
Especially with inflation still a factor in many parts of the world.
Right. Those are definitely challenges that could impact their bottom line.
For sure.
Have they addressed these concerns in any of their communications?
They have mentioned some strategies for mitigating these risks.
Okay.
They've been working on streamlining their operations, finding ways to optimize their sourcing, and implementing cost control measures.
So it sounds like they're not just sitting back and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
They're actively trying to anticipate and address these potential challenges.
Exactly. And I think that proactive approach is crucial in an industry that's evolving as rapidly as this one.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We've
looked at Fiem's financial performance, their strategic focus on the EV market, their investments in growth, and even some of the broader industry trends that could shape their future.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up,
I
want to bring it back to you, the listener.
Good idea.
It's important to remember that this is just a snapshot of where Fiem Industries stands today.
It's a snapshot.
Yeah.
You got it.
The automotive industry is incredibly dynamic.
It is.
And things can change quickly.
Very true.
So we want to leave you with a thought-provoking question to consider.
Okay.
Fiem has clearly made a commitment to being a leader in the EV space.
They have.
But what other innovations or partnerships could they explore to solidify that position and really thrive in this new era of transportation?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a good foundation, but the EV landscape is changing so quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe they could delve deeper into like smart lighting systems.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, we're already seeing some pretty innovative stuff with adaptive headlights, that adjust to road conditions.
Yeah.
Imagine how that could evolve with EVs and potentially even autonomous driving.
Yeah, that's a great thought.
Yeah.
And think about like the potential for integrating lighting with other vehicle systems.
Right.
Things like battery management, navigation, or even communication with other vehicles.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of untapped potential there.
Right. And what about partnerships beyond just the automotive realm? Could they collaborate with tech companies or infrastructure providers to create a more seamless and integrated experience for EV drivers?
Absolutely. Think about like charging infrastructure, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Fiem could partner with charging station providers to incorporate lighting solutions that make it easier and safer for drivers to find and use those stations.
Right. Or even things like smart city initiatives.
Oh.
Where lighting plays a crucial role in managing traffic flow,
right,
reducing energy consumption and enhancing safety. Fiem could really leverage their expertise to become a key player in that space.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They could even explore partnerships with companies working on vehicle-to-everything communication, or V2X.
Yeah. Okay.
Imagine lighting systems that can actually communicate with traffic signals, pedestrians, and other vehicles
Wow.
to enhance safety and efficiency on the roads.
Now, that's thinking outside the box.
Right.
It seems like there are endless possibilities for Fiem if they're willing to be creative and forward-thinking.
Absolutely. I mean, they've proven their ability to adapt and innovate.
Yeah.
And they've got a strong foundation in the automotive industry. Now it's about leveraging those strengths to carve out a leading position in this exciting new era of electric mobility.
Well, there you have it. A deep dive into Fiem Industries.
Yeah.
From their latest financial performance to their ambitions in the EV market and beyond.
We covered a lot.
We did. We explored their successes, their challenges, and their potential for growth in a rapidly changing industry.
And hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding of Fiem Industries.
Right.
And sparked some curiosity about the future of transportation.
Absolutely. And maybe even inspired you to think about the innovations and partnerships that could shape.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating company and a thought-provoking topic.
Sounds good.
Until then, stay curious,